ask you something.
Yeah.
When I look at my life, I can see that a lot of it is controlled by some kind of inner control freak. It's some kind of trying to control life. And it wants to protect me from whatever things. Like, and I know it's coming from the past because there were accidents and hospital and you know, any kind of situations where are not so, I don't know, that are not so nice to be experienced, and that control freak is just uncomfortable, and I don't know how to deal with it. And I wanted to ask you, do you still experience? Is there something like that in your life?
I don't know who I am, so it's really hard to speak about, Lisa. There's just things happening. But to go back to what you're saying, so right now, we can only go back to the experience. So right now, tell me everything that's appearing right now.
Feel a sense of excitement.
Yeah.
I feel my belly.
Yeah.
My stomach.
Yeah.
And I still can feel that I don't know what it is, but that thing within me that wants to protect and improve.
Yeah. So there's there's feelings in the belly, in the stomach. There's feelings, lots of different sensations happening as well. There's breathing. There's bum on seat. There's cool on the skin. Then there's a feeling, that feeling of wanting control, and then there feels like there's somebody that's looking at the want to control. There's somebody that's looking at the feelings. There's somebody in which all these experiences are happening to. And then you've labelled that person, not consciously, just seemingly over time, that person has been labelled as you. And it's not actually the experience or the idea or the feeling of that one that wants to control that's the problem. The problem is that one that's looking at the one that wants to control the problem. The one that feels like it's happening to you. So there's that feeling of wanting to control, and it feels like it's coming from you, and it's limited to a place. And it's yours. All of those things that you've described are actually happening in boundlessness and happening everywhere. They're not happening for someone. When they happen for someone, this contracted tight energy happens. But they're actually happening everywhere. So what the person's done now is it said the problem is that my whole life I've been wanting to control things, and that feeling of wanting to control is the problem. So then the person looks at that and it tries to think of a way to solve it. So then it goes to maybe different speakers, or it goes to books, or it tries to improve that dynamic within itself. There's nothing wrong with trying to improve that dynamic in yourself. Reconditioning of the body-mind mechanism is always happening, and that's a nice thing if the body's conditioned nicely. But the problem isn't that dynamic that you've labelled. The problem is the one that thinks it's happening to them. Really, that problem of control is happening everywhere. It's not happening inside your body or outside your body, it's everywhere. It's not happening to you that's in the body that's moved through time. It's happening in timelessness.
Yes.
The same with all the feelings.
Mm-hmm.
The feelings aren't happening for someone, not happening to someone. They're everywhere. It's not you feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the made up, that's the illusion that you are feeling all these things. Who is experiencing all of this? As it begins to be seen that the you is an illusion, then it's happening in and is emptiness. Everything is empty. There's not somebody in which is experiencing this. My friend Stan's just showed me a quote. It says, for total freedom, this is from Papaji, for total freedom, I is the price. I is the only bondage, and if you pay this price, you are free. So it's not about the controller. It's the one that experiences the controller. The body might be programmed to be controlling if it's had very negative physical experiences, but that's not the problem. Reconditioning that might be more pleasurable experiences, but the experiences aren't the solution. Experiences come and go. The body gets reconditioned. The problem is that it's happening for you, and that's the lie. There's nobody there. It's an imagined identity. It's all happening in everything. The body seems to be the instrument in which this is experienced through, but the body and the experienced are not separate.
But what is it that wants to hold on and wants to control and doesn't want to feel it, doesn't want that contraction thing?
That's the separate self.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that's looking at that is also the separate self. But the conditioning of the body to be controlling isn't a problem. That's just happening. But anyone that's looking at the conditioning is the separate self. Otherwise it would just be conditioning acting out, and it would just be happening for nobody.
Okay.
But it's more experiential, so you can feel name one thing that seems to be happening in the experience. And notice when I asked you to explain experiencing, you explained things that you thought were inside the body. It's not your fault, but you explained feelings and sensations. You didn't explain the light or the room. You just experienced what was inside the body. And why would feelings be different from sight? Aren't they both feelings, sight and feeling and hearing? But you didn't explain anything you heard or saw. You just explained what you thought was happening in this body. But who are these feelings happening for? And where are they happening?
I cannot say.
Yeah. It's unfindable, this person. But this person gets so caught up in itself.
Yes, yeah. Funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
You know, I've got the feeling it's just not very healthy to always want to control and not prevent contracting feelings, things like that.
Maybe it creates unhealth in the body, dishealth in the
Mm.
body. But that's an experience that's moving. Who is the one that's looking at the experience? But yeah, maybe it'd be more healthier not to have that.
Mhm.
But your suffering, your problem comes from the one that thinks it's happening to them. But yeah,
Mhm.
it will be more pleasurable for the body if it's not too controlling or fearful, or there will be more. It will be more a pleasurable experience for the body, or not for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
body, but more pleasurable experience, and the body most likely will be healthier. But then I don't know. Maybe
Mhm.
that body will live to 102. I don't know. My gran seemed to worry a lot, and she lived till 95.
Yes, you know what?
Yeah.
Uh, People always say negative thoughts have an impact on the health and stuff like that. And both my grandmothers are over 90. They are completely healthy and they are incredibly negative thinking.
Yeah.
Always complaining, the whole day complaining. And they are healthy like I don't know what.
Yeah, but
And I really,
we can just contradict everything, like
it's so
nothing
strange.
that we can say ever. And I might even say as well in my talks, I think I sometimes say the body will most probably be healthier if it's not releasing
Yeah.
painful chemicals all the time, chemicals that are moaning. But you know what? At the end of the day, life is so mysterious as to how it happens, and nobody and nothing is in control. And everything you say, every position that anybody takes in thoughts can be contradicted always. It's never found in that.
Mhm.
It's only ever found, the only thing that's constant, which doesn't change, is this, is what is. Everything else changes. So it's so funny because, I mean, in one way you look at it and you think, yeah, it could be healthier for the body if it wasn't, there wasn't negativity all the time. But then you could contradict that. My gran was 95 and 92, and they both seemed very unhappy.
Mhm.
So who
Yes,
knows?
strange.
This is a bizarre appearance.
Yes, yes.
It leaves us just in awe at the mystery of it all.
There's lately I came across a very nice quote from Rumi,
Yeah,
and I was really it was a wow effect kind
yeah,
of because it goes like this.
yeah,
It's in Arabic, but
yeah.
I try to translate.
You
It's like
you read Arabic?
yes,
Oh, nice.
started it long time ago, but um, it goes, who are you and how do you achieve love? And and then it goes, how would a little wave in the vast ocean ever be able to be aware of its place where it is within the ocean?
Very what, sorry?
And how does a little wave be aware of its place within the ocean? So I'm reading it's impossible to know where we are
Yeah,
on the scale of life,
yeah.
kind of. Yeah,
Impossible. But yet
yeah.
we are always that water. We are always the essence. We are always the ocean. But impossible to know where we are. And it is like the ocean. Like a wave comes up, it has an opinion, and then that opinion goes, and then there's another wave and another one.
Mhm, mhm,
Endless. Nice.
yeah. I feel a little relief at the moment.
Sorry?
It, I feel a little relief.
Yeah.
So, how to say, relaxation.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a really energetical thing, this. Because what happens is the mind tries to go into the mind activity, into working out in an idea, and then it's energetically,
mhm.
pointed back to its essence, which is this stillness. I don't know how it happens, but that's what I suppose non-duality is always coming back to what is. And it does create the side effect sometimes of relaxation, a lot of the time in the body, because there's not a looking for something else. But then that can always be contradicted.
Yeah. Is it that childhood experiences are stated within the body? Like...
But the body does seem to get conditioned. I don't know whereabouts, but if it's in the brain or if it's in the body, but it seems to happen to all animals, not just humans, and even trees conditioned to their environment as well. It seems to be a part of this. In another way, if you take it out from looking at objects as separate, you can see it as it's like the wave in the ocean, everything's affected by everything else. Which is really beautiful. So every action that body does, it comes from everything that's ever happened and ever will happen. But the bodies do seem to pick up the conditioning from that specific life that they've had. And that's actually not the problem. You can have really difficult conditioning and still be free. It's just that the conditioning will create more pain, but it will be for nobody. It will be in boundlessness. But yeah, it does seem, and the body will never be unconditioned. It always has to be conditioned. It sounds so negative, the word conditioned, but it always is conditioned to whatever is being experienced, whatever's happened. But it's also an act of love. One thing's moving to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. Yeah.
Is it moving somewhere?
It's moving and it's not moving. It's like a kaleidoscope. Like the kaleidoscope's not really moving. There's nothing really happening. It's just seemingly the light and colours are put together at different angles, and it creates the appearance of movement. So it's moving and not moving. Seems to be moving. But then what's moving?
So funny. Because what's the evolution then?
Well, ultimately there isn't any evolution. It seems to be, but ultimately it's not, because what's moving? There's nothing moving. But at the same time, it seems to be amazing.
Yeah.
And in that seeming movement, it's always one thing to another thing to another thing, so there's absolutely no things ever happening.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks, Alex. That was a really lovely conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.